Well, you probably you see the smiles from the mayor and Stephanie Pashman, CEO of the Allegheny Conference, and myself. This is a proud day for Pittsburgh, Western Pennsylvania, the whole region. And what I'm so proud about is when you think about where we've come over the last few decades, when 238 cities, major cities in North America, put forth proposals to try to get one of the world's largest, biggest, and futuristic corporations to move their headquarters to a city, and we list in the top 20. And you look at that list; it's a tremendous honor for us. So I think all of us as Pittsburghers should feel very proud. It was a great partnership of all the aspects that came together from the entire region. And you know, Stephanie and the conference and all the business community that came together, our universities, government at all levels, the county commissioners in the 10-county region and beyond were very supportive. The governor, I want to thank Governor Wolf and Secretary Davin for their willingness to be part of this. We're excited that 2 Pennsylvania cities made the list, and we're certainly glad to be one of them. But that the partnership that we have joined in here, not just for Amazon, but for a lot of other organizations and companies that keep coming here, is why Pittsburgh is such a special place. It's a great partnership for Amazon certainly to come here, and we're excited to be at the next round, and maybe have the mayor speak, and then Stephanie, and just it's a proud day for all of us.
Yeah.
Mayor,
thanks. Just to echo on the county executive's words, this has been a partnership from the very beginning. It is pulled together not just the city and the county governments, but the state government. It's pulled together bipartisan support across the aisle. It's been able to get our corporate community, our foundation community, and our universities all working as one. I don't know how many other cities can claim that, but I know that that's the way that we've always been able to get things accomplished in Pittsburgh, and we created a model that reflects that it's a team effort, and it's being rewarded now as being on the short list of the 20 finalists. Our work's ahead of us. We still have a lot of work to do. We have to address not only the positives that our region has, but also the challenges that our region has. And we have to be able to do so in a way that takes them on head on and shows not just to Amazon, but to the world how this city is poised for the 21st century. If you think about 10 years ago, if we would have been able to make this list, it's very unlikely. This region has come so far in such a short period of time, and still the best days are ahead of us. Amazon's decision is reflective of the work that so many people have done in pulling a city out of a depression, out of an industry that crashed, and into an entire new opportunity for entire new industries to be born. You know, this city had 700,000 people living within its borders. You know, I know there's a lot of people who ask, can we handle 50,000 additional jobs? 50,000 additional jobs mean schools reopen. It means that we have money to shovel snow. It means we have more police. It means we have neighborhoods that have seen absolutely no development in 50 years, seeing opportunities for the first time. Yes, we can handle 50,000 people in 17 years. In fact, if we don't, economically, we're in very dire straits. The question is, can we compete against these other 19 cities to show Amazon that this is the city that they should be in? And I truly believe that we can.
Good morning. Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, County Executive. I will echo their thoughts that this is just a phenomenal day for the Pittsburgh region to acknowledge the incredible work and partnership that we pursue every day. And I think that's really important to understand, is that the organization that I lead has a 75-year history of this kind of partnership and getting things done. And what we did for Amazon is no different than what we do every day to make sure that we make this region as strong as it can be. And I think the message today is that we are ready. We are ready for Amazon. When this bid went in, we didn't stop working. We kept the team meeting. We made sure that when we got this phone call or this email or this press release, that we would know exactly what to do. And so we are very much looking forward to working with Amazon in showing even more of our true colors and what we have to offer them. And we're very thrilled to share this wonderful news with you today. And I think we're open for questions.
For questions.
Mayor, on the day you submitted the application, you had said that the city had prepared for this moment for many, many years. Can you expand on that? What have we done over the past years to do this?
Yeah, I think what I said is this application is 30 years in the making. It's really the sacrifices that so many made. It goes beyond the institutions. It goes directly to the people, those that stayed during the difficult days and decided that this area was worth fighting for. It talks to the values that we put forth, values of family that cause people to want to stay here. This sacrifices through investment of when a city was facing its most difficult days, we still built skyscrapers. We invested in the arts. We built riverfront trails. We invested in a community knowing that in the future it had the potential to come back. The Amazon Challenge really was the opportunity for Pittsburgh and this region to showcase all that has been done over those 30 years. It's not a snapshot simply of where we are today. It's more of a reflection over what we've been able to do for 30 years.
Are we having any details about this proposal at all?
Not in the sense of getting the proposal. This is no different than any other economic development deal. I've probably got about a dozen deals that we're working on right now. We don't hold press conferences or send out what we're discussing with the developers. If we did that, there wouldn't be any developers coming to this town, or nor companies. With those discussions happen behind closed doors for the sake of both sides. When you're dealing with public-private, it's not simply public, it's also private. And you respect the interests, whether it's property owners, developers, of what they're proposing, and in this case, what they're proposing to Amazon. So if a proposal is accepted, then yes, everything needs to be public. There have to be public hearings before city council, county council, school board, if it involves any TIF or if it involves any money. If there's any money coming from the state, it has to involve state legislature, state senate, signing by the governor, public process that will all be followed. Nothing will be done just as a proposal. It will still require public process. But until Amazon says, yes, Pittsburgh, then that process will be negotiated privately, exactly the same as every other economic development deal that we do in this town.
Yeah, let me echo what the mayor said. We basically have these meetings. I know the mayor does and Stephanie does. I mean, the PRA and the Allegheny Conference does this every day and has been for years, as do my office. We have meetings all the time with developers, with companies, with, in my case, airlines that are interested in coming here. And it's just the way Amazon has done this. Amazon has done this in obviously an extremely public way. So when they send out the press release in September that they're doing an HQ2, all of you start calling. So, and that's the process, and we answer. And then today, what did they do? They put out a press release, and they listed the top 20 cities, and it creates, this public, whatever you want to call frenzy a little bit. And we all got calls. The mayor's phone was blowing up. Stephanie's, wherever we were this morning, just everything got canceled so that we could answer these questions. But we have meetings all the time with developers and with companies that want to come here. And until we offer them some, incentive that has to go before city council, or in my case, county council, then there's public hearings. What's the amount? What's the subsidy? What kind of land? What kind of infrastructure, et cetera, all the things that are on the table. Then it becomes extremely public.
Right.
Stephanie, you talked though about being prepared for the next step. Can you give us a sense of what you've prepared for?
Sure, absolutely. Well, number one, we had 2 press releases written, right? The good one and the not so good one. So we're thrilled that we got to issue the right one. Number 2, we had a group of folks that worked together on this bid that came from multiple entities in this region, including universities, including community groups, including government, corporations, a variety of entities, and they've been meeting regularly to say, all right, here's what we put in this proposal, and what are we going to do when we get that phone call to make sure that we can deliver on our promises, and that we also, in addition, make sure that when we are showing them Pittsburgh, that we're showing them the best of Pittsburgh. And so we put together some notional ideas of where we would take them, who would be part of that opportunity, and we constructed a bit of a framework so when Amazon calls, we have something to offer them. And of course, we'll respond to their questions and be very tailored to their needs, but at least we have something to start from.
Have you guys been given any indication that this next round will include site visits?
Yeah, the press release actually indicated that they'll be working specifically with each city on the areas that they want to probe and that they're going to be coming and exploring the cities.
Have you had contact beyond the press release?
No.
Not the
In other words,
No.
what you learned is what
We know as much as you do.
Yes. But the press release indicates where they said, I think that the term was dive deeper into each of these communities, each of these cities. So as they do the deeper dive, they're going to be coming here. And I don't know if they're going to do a press release saying, here we are, and then you guys can all follow along, or maybe they want to come privately and, meet in the mayor's office or down in Stephanie's or my office, and, we'll take some a tour bus or a tour, van around to show what's out there. I don't know the next process. We're going to learn this as days go on.
Are you prepared to increase incentives or anything like that to help land Amazon? I mean, I can't anticipate, with the list of 20 now, cities are really going to be, upping the ante. What about Pittsburgh?
I think we put together a very comprehensive package of opportunity that is, in addition to incentives, it's also ways that we can partner on making Pittsburgh a better place and making it a strong place for Amazon. And I think that we feel very prepared that what we put forward is actually going to be very appealing. And it's indicated by the fact that we made it into the top 10% of proposals.
Yeah, and I would say it's way too early to even guess. I think that Amazon will come in looking at the city, looking at proposals, and will probably offer or suggest changes. And our proposal is built in a
That's
way
right.
that it can be very flexible. But also, what Stephanie said, it's also built in a way that not only makes it conducive to a company like Amazon, but betters the community as well. That looking at as Amazon as a partner to work with us to face some of our challenges and to be able to recognize some of the criticism from Seattle and being able to create new opportunities that Pittsburgh could have.
Philadelphia released part of its proposal, and it still made the finalist list.
Yeah.
It didn't include any of the incentive stuff, which we're assuming is the really, secret sauce stuff.
Yeah.
Why can't you guys release the parts of the proposal that don't include that?
I believe Philadelphia is using public land, that they're using an area that they didn't have to go into non-disclosure agreements with private landowners or with developers. And a lot of what we're proposing in our Amazon proposal is proprietary to those companies. And if we had released that information, they wouldn't have proposed or they wouldn't have been a part of this. You can think about in the city where there's a lot of land available. The very few areas of it are owned by the URA or the city of Pittsburgh or Allegheny County. Almost all of those areas are either under an agreement with a private developer or they're owned by a private company. And those companies want to be able to keep what they negotiate with companies private. They want to be able, they don't want their competitors to know what they're offering per square foot or what their development costs are on being able to put in infrastructure. And we, in negotiating those deals, agreed that we wouldn't disclose it.
Given the fact that the list of the other cities is kind of all you have heard from Amazon, I'm curious if you all have discerned anything from who made it, who didn't make it, that makes you wonder whether you do have an advantage beyond being in the top 20.
That's like all three of us, like, yes.
So, I would start off by saying we put together a bid that was uniquely Pittsburgh, and we put together a bid that told our story and really played on our strengths. And I think we feel really confident that clearly they saw something there that was appealing to them. And that's what we're going to continue to focus on, is what are we offering in Pittsburgh? What do we have to give as a region that other places can't bring to the table? And how do we do that in our own unique Pittsburgh way? I think one thing that we think is pretty unique about our proposal is that we established an entity called HQ2 that's essentially a subsidiary organization of the Allegheny Conference that is set to create a welcome mat for Amazon, that is uniquely focused and nimble enough to be able to say, Amazon, we're here to work with you and welcome you and make sure we lay out a welcome mat and bring you to Pittsburgh in the way that we can to accommodate all of your needs. And so that we know is something that's very, I think, very unique in these proposals, is that we really establish something that can make sure we can embrace them in a very focused way.
Yeah, and to echo on that, we obviously, when we put, as Stephanie said, when we put this proposal together, we listed obviously the great assets and all the qualities that we thought Amazon would want to use, and obviously we were successful in that. And I think not just the Amazon proposal, but this whole run-up in the last couple of months as different national publications have listed the top 5, the top 10, the top, and we seem to make all those lists. And I know a lot of us were very excited about that and proud of that. Today was the official, yes, you made the official list, which again, we can be proud of. But now it continues to add to the getting the word out there of what a great place Pittsburgh is to do business and to locate. And that's going to be the continued momentum. Regardless of Amazon, there's a lot of other companies, as the mayor said, over 30 years, we've been building up to this, companies who have come here that are already here, that we know, that you read about all the time and what's coming out of our great universities. So it really is just, we're going to focus on our assets and how we can put that together.
One last thing with that too is in reading the articles from the end of the year until today, and when Pittsburgh would make the short list, it was usually Pittsburgh, Detroit, Baltimore, Cleveland, Buffalo. There was this narrative of the Rust Belt as being a very competitive advantage. I believe we're the only city that made the cut, which allows us to be in a unique situation. The second thing is a lot of the articles would talk about the talent pipeline, Austin, Boston, San Francisco, Pittsburgh. We have that talent pipeline as well to be able to attract the jobs and create the jobs and be able to have a workforce development plan to supply the jobs. And then finally, cost of living. When you compare San Francisco, Austin, Boston, and Pittsburgh, cost of living here is significantly less than those other areas. Putting those types of combinations together, I think helps us, it definitely helped us to make the short list, but it helps us in the short list to be very competitive.
Columbus made the list, and they got the Smart Cities initiative. Is that at all a concern to you that they beat Pittsburgh out in that competition and could in this?
I see Mayor Gunther next week, and I'll be sure to take him down. No, they're a very competitive city. They do check a lot of the same boxes, especially with Ohio State University right there in Columbus. Looking at other cities too, in Nashville, a very competitive city, Raleigh, very competitive city. But with those cities and being a mid-sized city, I do believe that Pittsburgh has as much to offer, if not more, than any of our competitors in that category.
Pennsylvania and Texas are also the only 2 states that have 2 locations on that list. Are you concerned at all about an internal bidding war, or that the governor's going to take sides?
No, the governor, Secretary Davin, although the state has been very clear that they want it to come to Pennsylvania, which is where they should be, and they're going to provide the economic help for both cities to be able to be competitive. And we're proud to be on that list. And we could not be in this position without the partnership of Governor Wolf, Secretary Davin, and the state. So we're proud to be there.
As this process moves forward, will there continue to be a dedicated team to work on making this proposal better, and where will the money for this come from?
So there is a dedicated team that is continuing to work on this, and that will be activated even in short order to respond to Amazon. The funding will likely come from the same place the original came from, a mix of public-private foundations, like anything else in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
All activity since the submission of the application has been voluntarily done by corporate leaders, government leaders, university foundation leaders. Everyone has volunteered their time and expertise. As we get to this next phase now, we will have to raise money again. We'll do so, but the team remains intact and has remained intact the entire time.
And I'm sure the optimism at this point will be even greater because of, now we're getting close. The fact that we made this final list will make some of that easier for some of the corporations and foundations to be part of it.
How much was the initial proposal? How much did you spend on that? And how much do you anticipate you'll have to spend on this?
No idea how much we would have to spend on it. We can get you the numbers. I don't have that number right off the top of my head.
Have you been having conversations with potential site owners and community leaders where these potential sites are located?
With the site owners, yes. With community leaders, no. But they fall within the community plans of those areas for what has been suggested in the past.
And I can echo a little bit on that. In communities outside of the city and even outside of the county, I've gotten a lot of requests for people saying, look at this site, look at that site. We think we'll make this available, we'll make that available. So there are a lot of communities that are obviously interested in having this economic impact there. So these discussions have gone on with a whole lot of folks in the community and the business community over the last couple of months when this first came out.
And within the city, every plan is in conformity with the community-based plans in the neighborhoods.
So can you say that you're planning to have conversations with community leaders and neighborhood leaders and
Absolutely.
organizations in the
Absolutely.
to follow?
Yeah. And no different than any other development. So, the most recent being the, can't remember the name of the company from Washington, D.C. that's coming over to the North Shore, computer company, SAP?
SAP.
SAP. The same thing, that it needed to follow the community plan for the North Shore development, working with Northside Leadership Conference and everything else. Once the deal was done, we'll do the exact same thing. The only difference would be that the logo would be Amazon.
What happens if Amazon picks a location in Allegheny County but not specifically in Pittsburgh?
I would applaud it and work with the county executive to make sure it happens.
This really is about the region. And what's been great about this, there hasn't been, pick us versus them, whether it's, Butler County or an area, a suburban community outside of the city. There's not been this territorial. It's been about let's win the bid, because we know it's going to benefit everybody wherever it's located. 50,000 jobs and the kind of spending we're talking about, the kind of investment, $5 to $8 billion worth of construction. I mean, no one community is just going to benefit. It's going to benefit the whole region.
Yeah, the region's GDP would be significantly increased in a way that would draw wealth to this region like really nothing else since the days of heavy industry and steel.
So there's not going to be a public release of the application, but is there going to be any thoughts about trying to get it to county council, city council, so that those elective representatives as well can look at it and kind of vet the what Pittsburgh and what the county are giving to try and attract Amazon?
Yeah, absolutely. When Amazon says yes.
But not before.
Not before, because we don't even,
know what they mean.
yeah, and I am assuming that Amazon, it will be a negotiation. It won't just be which application out of these 20 are we going to accept. I'm assuming that they're going to do what any other competitive economic development group would do, which is look at each of them, find the best things from them, and see what city can offer, not just financial incentive, but transportation, availability of affordable housing, quality schools. They're going to be looking at this as much more than just a check from government. They're going to want to be able to see what each city is competing against and then be able to put together a proposal that would deviate somewhat from whatever it is that we submitted. And at that point, and if they say yes, then absolutely, full public process before every legislative body, if there are government funds involved. Full public procedure before the state, if there are state funds involved. But it's so premature right now to assume that it would be a part of the final deal.
You've talked about some of the advantages that you think Pittsburgh has in this competition. What do you think are some of the sort of disadvantages or the Achilles heel that you have to address as part of this process when you start to meet with Amazon?
I'll be honest with you. I think about that, and you've asked me now. I can't think of one.
We don't know.
We think that our bid is as good as it can be there because of affordability, available sites, the tech pipeline, the quality of life, all those issues we talked about. I think one of the things in Pittsburgh's is sometimes we're a little bit too humble, and we don't always, out there boasting. And I think Pittsburgh was, for many years, kind of under the radar screen. I think a lot of that's gone away over the last number of months because of this process. So I think that we've made all these lists where people not that long ago would say, Pittsburgh? Really? Pittsburgh's on that list? Yeah. Now nobody says it like that anymore. Yeah. So I think we've overcome that, but I think sometimes we don't blow our own horn a lot. That's just not the way we are as Pittsburghers. And if I had to say one thing, that's probably we haven't been out there boasting about all the great things we have loudly enough to the rest of the country.
I add this, it was just 10 years ago when President Obama announced that the G20 was going to be in Pittsburgh, and the entire press room laughed. And they thought he was joking. Nobody laughs anymore.
Yeah.
Could you one more question, and they'll be available for one-on-ones as well.
Is there anything ancillary in the works, the flight from Pittsburgh to Seattle, for example, that we can expect to see in the coming days or weeks, things that you've been working on that you think might additionally sweeten what you've put forward so far?
As things continue to progress, and that's a perfect example, as we move forward on different initiatives, whether it's around improving transit and whether it's around improving air quality, the airport, access, whether it's around, the announcement that CMU made the other day that they're working with 5 other universities with a $27 million investment that's coming here, again, around technology. So as these things continue to happen, we'll certainly communicate that to our friends at Amazon to let them know that we're continuing to move forward. The flight's the perfect example. We didn't have that flight when we submitted in October, and it was a few weeks later that we got that. Yes, we communicated that you have a direct flight now from Seattle to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, and I would just add this. I fully expect site visits to include what they see as challenges, and then how their partnership with this region can help to improve it, whether that's public transit and being able to get to any area that would benefit the entire community, whether that is affordable housing, which has been the challenge in Seattle, and what initiatives can be in place to be able to do that, or as they made very clear in their proposal, workforce development, being able to make sure that there's an opportunity for everyone to be a benefit to this. I fully expect that they will challenge us on those, and that we'll be adaptable to be able to show how we can create new incentives by having them come here to benefit this whole region.
For example, adding curriculum at our community college, or working with our universities to what they're looking for in workforce training and job training. That might be one example among many, though, that the mayor talked about.
Thanks, everybody.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.